So it's finally here. After multiple delays, Terminator 2D No Fate has landed. And just for some background, I'm a true Terminator fan. T2 is my favourite film of all time, the one I've watched more than anything else. I've played the games too, and as much as people hate the original 16-bit T2 Judgment Day side-scroller, I loved it back in the day, mostly because I got to play through the whole thing as the T800, even if those driving levels were horrendous, and they were absolutely awful. And in hindsight, yeah, the game is pretty bad too. But I can confidently say this game blows that one and pretty much every other Terminator game out of the water. It's not perfect, there are a few levels I wish had been included. It is short, but I love it. So here's my full review from a genuine fan. So right from the opening moments, it's clear that this is a love letter not just to the 16-bit era, but to the film itself, and that comes through in the level of detail, sometimes in ways that are easy to miss. This is pure side-scrolling, run-and-gun, arcade-style retro fun. Visually, the game is beautiful. The pixel art is some of the best I've seen in a modern retro title. Every character is smoothly animated. Sarah Connor's run animation during the hospital escape feels so good. There's like real weight and momentum to her movement, even down to the way her body sways as she climbs ladders. Little things like that I feel really elevate the experience. Then there's the T-1000, watching him melt out of walls and reform into his police disguise. And when you unload a shotgun into him and see silver pockmarks ripple across his body, that's the kind of detail that sort of tells you that this game was made by people who truly love this movie. And iconic moments from Judgment Day are recreated constantly, but never in a lazy way. The hospital, Cyberdyne, the steel mill, they all feel instantly recognizable, and they work really well as a video game too. And the audio, the soundtrack, absolutely nails the Terminator vibe, reworking iconic themes into these high energy tracks. They sound like they've come straight from the Sega CD. And the sound effects too, like the plasma rifles, hearing them blast, it just sounds so satisfying. And also, there are some deep fan service touches lifted straight from the film that I noticed. Things like, Sarah's video playing on the monitor in the hospital as she snaps and stabs Dr. Silverman. And also one thing that I noticed that actually made me smile when I saw it. So Terminator 2 is famously, soaked in Pepsi branding. And so the game sneaks in Pepsi-style vending machines and signage into the background. And there's plenty more details too. They're small, but perfectly sum up how much care went into making this. Gameplay-wise, No Fate is such a blast. It's classic run-and-gun action. You rotate between Sarah Connor, the T-800, and John Connor during the future war sections, and each character kind of brings different flavour. John's levels are like Contra-style chaos, spread shots, split fire, relentless enemy waves. If you grew up on a game like Contra 3, these sections will feel pretty familiar. Sarah's level mixes things up in really smart ways. Her hospital escape becomes really tense, with the T-1000 relentlessly stalking you. It's stressful, atmospheric. It really captures the vibe from the film perfectly. The T-800 also gets these really big cinematic moments like the vehicle chases, the shootouts, and of course the biker bar. And I've got to be honest, the biker bar beat 'em up section for me was the weakest part of the game. It switches to a really very bare bones brawler, and which has never really been my favourite genre anyway. So thankfully it's short and it doesn't derail the experience, but for me it was definitely the low point. The vehicle chase sequences, though, are much better than I expected. Dodging traffic, reacting to warning prompts, shooting, like the T-1000 in the helicopter, keeps the pace high and fits the movie really well. And one of the more interesting design choices in No Fate doesn't really reveal itself until later. The branching story paths tied to Miles Dyson. So on your first playthrough, you don't get a choice. The game pretty much railroads you into following the traditional T2 narrative, but once you finish the campaign, there's 3 branching paths that open up based on decisions surrounding Dyson. And these choices change the future, leading to alternate levels and different endings. There's unique content, including extra stages not available in the standard storyline. And from what I experienced, these alternate paths add around 3 additional levels in total, 2 featuring Sarah and 1 with the T800. The extra T800 level was actually a nice bonus, especially since his regular sections felt a little underused. It leans more into the classic run and gun action. That said, I feel like expectations kind of need to be managed because while the branching paths add replay value, most of each run remains the same. The new content only adds a few minutes per playthrough, so the choices are really cool, but they're more about replay incentive rather than completely different campaigns. And that brings me to the biggest talking point around Terminator 2 No Fate, and that is that this game is short. Like, it's very short. My first full playthrough clocked in under an hour, so basically you finish it faster than watching the movie. And at its asking price, especially for the physical editions, that's where a lot of the criticism is coming from. But here's the thing, like, this game isn't trying to be a modern cinematic 20-hour experience. It's an arcade game. It's built around replayability, mastery, and chasing perfect runs. There are multiple difficulty levels from easy money all the way up to the brutal Judgment Day mode. Enemy placement changes, hazards get harder, boss patterns evolve, and even aiming becomes more demanding. The ranking system pushes you to replay levels again and again, chasing S ranks, faster times, higher scores. On top of that, there are plenty of modes to dig into: arcade mode with no saves, boss rush, infinity mode, level training, and Sarah only Mother of the Future mode. It's all designed to reward players who want to master the game, not just finish it once. So yeah, the replay value is very intentional. If you love perfect runs and the classic arcade repetition, then this game delivers exactly that. But if you're expecting a long, story-heavy modern experience, then you might probably walk away a bit disappointed. For me though, No Fate finally delivers on something Terminator games have failed to do literally for decades. It feels like Terminator 2, it respects the source material, it respects the era that it's inspired by, and it's really polished. Is it perfect? No. I feel like there could have been extra levels I wish they'd included, like the Galleria, the mall. Is it expensive for how short it is? Yeah, probably. But is it one of the best Terminator games ever made? I honestly think it is. Probably the best. And I do hope we get some extra content down the track, maybe some DLC, who knows. So there you go, my Terminator 2D No Fate review. Hope you enjoyed it, thanks for watching, and I'll be back next time.